Hello gamers, and welcome back to my channel. It's your friend, your secret lover Maddox here. And today we're going to be looking at the new patch notes. So, if you weren't paying attention or you haven't seen, this is basically the patch notes where they do a lot of good updates for guns, as well as a few agent changes where make it a little bit like do some nerfs, do little buffs, but like for the most part it's like nothing crazy, right? So this is the patch where we humble the Stinger by adding a degree of mastery to the weapon. Rather than leaving it potent in one too many areas, the Martial and Frenzy also get respective price adjustments. As forecasted in our State of the Agents, Yoro gets his first set of balance changes with the hopes of getting him closer to his intended impact and performance. Reyna's Devour and Dismiss was running wild round over round, so those charges have been reduced. Don't worry, Reyna Maniacs. She'll now get soul orbs from anyone she's recently damaged, even if she didn't land the kill shot. Don't forget the newest game mode, Escalation, goes live. You can read more about how it all works in our story. Alright, so like that's a nice little summary, and let me just read off kind of like the changes right here and kind of what I think is going to happen off of this. Okay, so Reyna gets a dual nerf and buff in hopes of reining in some of her pub stomp potential while still keeping her viable in balanced and coordinated play. The charge reduction should limit how much impact she can have round over round when she's heavily outgunning her opponents, but allow her enough room for the 1v5 dream when Empress is active. The price increase of Devour and Dismiss is tandem with the Frenzy price increase, should also push some tougher economic decisions during pistol round. Now she'll no longer be able to buy a charge or leer her soul orb abilities and upgrade her pistol. On the flip side, Renegade's getting soul orbs from recently damaged enemies should also help her reliability when playing around teammates, and reduce the animosity when an ally lands the final blow and Reyna goes empty-handed. So, Maxim Devour and Dismiss charges reduced from 4 to 2. Slain enemies that Reyna has damaged in the last 3 seconds now drop soul orbs, even if Reyna does not land the killing shot, blah blah blah. Cost of Devour has been increased. Cost of Devour and Dismiss has been increased from 100 to 200. So, what do I think about these changes? And I honestly think these are really good changes. I don't think anyone was really expecting a Reyna rework, not even like a rework, a nerf and a buff to her in this respect. But I think it's a very welcomed one, and I actually like what they did a lot. So now going to 2 charges means they can only heal twice. That means you don't have to really worry about giving Reyna too many 1v1s if she's already used her orbs, right? Her Devour or Dismiss, right? Because a lot of the times when it was ever like a Reyna, like in a 1v3 or 1v4 or 2vx, whatever, right? It's always like the teams were always worried, especially in matchmaking, about her just like popping off, because obviously she gets a kill, she can just heal herself back up to full, and a lot of people were scared of that. I think with this reduction, people won't be as scared of taking aim duels versus Arena, especially when she's outnumbered. And then the soul orbs dropping when she damages an opponent but doesn't get the killing shot, like I think that's really good too. There's been so many times I've seen people, or me myself, right, have damaged an opponent, but because we didn't get that killing shot, we stay low, right? It's a really good buff to her, which she really needs, because sometimes like you're an entry. This like really promotes her to entry frag, and be the entry fragger duelist she needs to be, because a lot of people wouldn't enter in because they just want to get that pick in order to get the soul orb. But now that she gets one, even if she damages the opponent, it's gonna force people to be like, hey, go in. Like there's nothing stopping you from going. Even if you don't get the kill, like as long as you damage them, you'll get the orb still, and you can heal back up. Right? It's good incentive for her to go push out and try to entry out for the team and have people come and back her up. Because if you know anything about people that play Reyna in matchmaking, they just love lurking with her, right? They just love lurking with Reyna and doing nothing for the team. It's actually really sad. That people try to play her that way when her job is a duelist and just to go in there and open up and create space. So and then cost of Devour 100 to 200. Again, this is just to make her a little bit more balanced. Her entire kit before would have been 700. Now it's reduced down to 600. And so now like this is big, right? Because now it's gonna depend on what you want to do. If you go for a ghost or a frenzy now in pistol round, you can get only one orb charge, right? One of your charges for Devour and Dismiss, so it gives you 2 in the pistol round. Or you go for the flash, right? Flash, charge, and whatever pistol. Or, right, you can just go for light armor and then get one flash or two flashes, or one flash and the second orb of your devour and dismiss, right? So it's really going to change up kind of how people play, and I don't we're not going to see like too much of her like going off with throwing some support util with her flash and then her healing whenever she gets kills, right? Now she's kind of limited in kind of what does she want to do? Buy one flash or get two soul charges, right? It's really, really up there. But again, this is just again to limit what she can do with the amount of money she gets in the beginning of the round. Now we move over to Yoru. While we investigate future changes to Yoru that target his power and ability to achieve his core promise, we wanted to make a few changes that we felt would improve his use today. Gatecrash wasn't providing much information about when enemies could see or hear his teleport fragment, so we added a few pieces to make that easier. As far as the ultimate, we noticed a burden on Yoru having to communicate threats between his allies and his destination, and wanted to make it easier for him and his team to understand the state of their round when they set up the ultimate pincer. Gatecrash now displays the range at which the tether can be seen by enemies while moving on the minimap. The range the enemies are able to hear the audio of a Gatecrash teleport is now displayed on the minimap as well. So let's just talk about Gatecrash real quick. The one thing I personally don't like about Yoru is that when he throws his flash, it has a set distance it needs to travel before it blinds. I think it would be better if they made it more into a skill shot, where if you throw it from really far back, as long as it touches the wall, it might flash instantly, right? Or how, depending on how close you are to whatever wall you're throwing off of, will dictate, how far that flash goes. Having the set, distance it travels, I think is really the main problem with Yoru in that regard for his flash, which is why I think his flash is trash. I think everyone can basically turn from it. For the most part, unless you you catch them off with like a really, really weird flash that you throw from somewhere. But most of the distances between walls and like angles are wide enough to where anyone could see it and react to it, which I think is the shitty part about his flash. But anyways, the Gatecrash change is pretty good. Being able to see the radius at which people can see your Gatecrash is pretty solid, and then the audio cue that the circle that will appear above your guy on the minimap is nice to know how big it is. Dimensional drift. While in dimensional drift, Yoru's minimap is not visible. Enemies within Yoru's vision range while in dimensional drift are now revealed to ally minimaps as well. Dimensional drift can no longer body block enemies. I know we've seen a couple clips where people body block them and then like a Brim ulti comes in and they get stuck in it, right? So that's, you can't do that anymore. But I mean, you can still show them where they're at. But like, that's just like a funny thing that happened before that you won't see happen anymore. Being able to see his minimap is okay, but being able to give vision on your teammates' minimaps to see where the opponents are at, I think is really strong. So now you don't have to ping, right? You don't have to ping anymore. If you're Yoru, you can just look at them and then move into a better position if you need to, and then your teammates will know where they're at. It's like basically almost like a recon dart. We can't see them on our screen, but we see them on the minimap, and then that should dictate kind of how we play and which route we take to enter into the site, as long as your Yoru clears every angle. And then we just got a couple things for the mollies. The audio of the incendiary lingering fire zone will be easier to hear when other actions and sounds occur nearby, and that's for both hot hands and the incendiary grenade on Brimstone and Phoenix. Again, something miscellaneous, just a nice quality of life change. Now let's get to the real musk of this update, and that's the weapon update. The Marshal. We wanted to sharpen the Marshal's strength as a sniper with the movement speed buff when zoomed. The intent is to carve out a strong, agile hit and run identity for the weapon. There's a price buff too, because the weapon is not as versatile as others in its range. Movement speed when zoomed in is now at 90%, previously at 76%. Price decrease from 1100 to 1000, and zoom magnification from 2.5 to 3.5. What do I think about these? So, I mean, the movement speed, like these are all like really, really good buffs for the Marshal, right? I'm very interested in seeing how people play these anti-eco rounds with this gun, or these force rounds with this gun, right? I'm more so interested on anti-eco rounds, because the one thing you need to be doing for the most part on anti-eco rounds is kind of playing your range and playing your util. A lot of people are forcing up right now in the current meta, so it's going to be like stingers versus stingers. But now that we have Marshals into the mix, where we can play medium to long range, and hopefully the stingers now, once I read the update down below, can't really punish or kill people from that medium to long range a lot easier like they could before, we might see a change in kind of how people play second rounds and third rounds, right? Just based off of what gun they have. I still think the Stinger's going to be strong because I've already read the patch notes. But like this could be like a good push in the right direction because technically you are supposed to have better guns when you win pistol rounds. So I don't know why. Like they need, in my opinion, if the Stinger is still predominant, right, and they'll probably buff the Marshal again, and then they'll probably buff the Spectre, right? Because or they might reduce the cost of maybe like the Bulldog. Because one of the main things is when you win the pistol round, you should have the advantage gun wise. And I think it's really, really stupid that they, like Riot has made it so that they can also buy the same weapons, right, for the same cost, but they're just so strong. But again, maybe with today's nerfs, it's a little bit different. Like, the Stinger might not be so crazy, and the Marshal might be able to prove itself, right, with some of these buffs that they give to it. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Let's go on the Stinger now. This is like this is the real, update that we wanted to really see. The Stinger has been strong for some time, and while we were like that it is a threatening at any stage of the game, it's proved to be too potent in too many areas. We're taking a swing at raw DPS with the fire rate reduction, full auto only, and made spread and or recoil adjustments to both firing modes. The intent is to better designate optimal ranges for the respective firing modes, as well as introduce degrees of mastery to the weapon. The price increase is meant to bump the premium a bit on the Stinger now, nerfs, but it's still potent versatility. So price increase from 1,000 to 1,100. What does this entail? So if you were to get a kill on pistol round and you're on attacker side and you don't get the bomb down, or on defender, right, on the defense, you can get now a Stinger and full shields, right? The only thing you won't be able to get now is maybe like one extra utility, which for Brim would be like a smoke, a Sky, a flash, Cypher, a cage, or something, right? Something you might or might not buy just depending on the situation if you were to force up after losing pistol round. Is this enough of a price increase? We'll see, right? I don't think it is personally. I don't think this is enough to really negate it. I think 1,200 or even 1,300 would have been a really good idea to put it in, right? Because the thing is, why do I want it so high? Is because when you lose that pistol round, I don't want you to be able to buy, half shields and some util with it. I would rather it be to a price where you can buy it and light shields, but you can't get util, and that way the defense who can buy it and get util have a stronger way of winning that second round, right? Obviously, if whoever won that pistol round fucks up second round, they should lose. But I think they should have a clear inclination of, hey, pistol rounds are very important. You need to win them. And, if you don't win them, you're basically losing 2 rounds. In my opinion, in my theory, like the way I view the game, that's how it should be played. Obviously, Riot might be going for a different view, right? It could go a different way. Because, that's how it was in Counter-Strike. Basically, for the most part, you would win. If you won pistol round, you would usually win second round pretty single-handedly. But then again, you have to go to 16 instead of 13. So maybe they don't want it. Like, it's fine in Counter-Strike because there's so many rounds that need to be played, but maybe in Valorant, because there's so little rounds, they kind of want to make it a little bit tighter, right? But then that begs the question, like, hey, do we even need pistol rounds? Why don't we just go full gun rounds, like, every time then, All right, anyways, full auto fire rate reduced from 18 to 16. That's pretty good because it shoots really, really fast. And this might make it so it's harder to kill people that quickly, but it also might in turn make it so it is a little bit more better to control, right? Usually when something shoots a little bit slower, it's a little bit more accurate to control. For example, the Guardian doesn't shoot that fast, but it's very, very easy to, control the shots. While this is 18 to 16, it's still fast compared to the other guns. This might make it a little bit easier to control the spray, but we'll see what happens when people play with it more. Full auto fire now reaches max spread at bullet 4 instead of bullet 6. Again, that's quality of life change there. Makes it so the circle, the cone that the bullets can land in has now increased sooner rather than later, meaning that you're going to have to make sure you are very accurate with the gun when you control for the spray. Adjusted pitch, vertical recoil curve for full auto. Recoil climbs more aggressively past the third bullet. Again, this just makes it so it goes higher, so you have to pull down more when you are using the weapon. Stinger burst fire, adjusted pitch, vertical. Again, same thing. After the first bullet, added more error on burst after the first one. Improved recovery time on burst width from 0.45 to 0.4. So I think these are going to be really good nerfs to the Stinger. Like I said, right? If the Stinger is not as useful anymore in the second round, we might not see any more forces. And if we see no more forces, the Marshal and the defense, whoever won the pistol round, are going to have a very, very good chance of winning those rounds now, right? Obviously, it could this update might not do anything, right? It might just make the Stinger, like, for some reason, like, more busted, or people just can't punish it as well. And then we'll probably see more weapon updates, but we'll see what happens. Then Frenzy from 400 to 500, right? Now it's the same as the Ghost, which is really good. And like, this is gonna, like, people can't buy armor and Frenzy anymore, which has been a very, very annoying problem in matchmaking. Now they have to think, do they want armor, or do they want the Frenzy / Ghost, right? If they go for the Frenzy, I like, me personally, I like the Ghost, but I'll definitely go for armor too sometimes. So again, we could punish people for doing this. But yeah, so that's like what we're gonna see with the Frenzy now. I think it's gonna kind of like die off since it's not as good. The reason why I think it was strong before was because you can get armor with the gun, an automatic gun, pistol round. All right, mode updates. Escalation goes live. This is basically gun game. Basically, you go through all the fucking guns and you just try to win. Nothing big there. AFK punishment. If you're currently defined as if you go for a prolonged amount of period, AFK, 6 more rounds, you lose 8 rank rating points. I mean, it's good to punish people for going AFK, but it could suck. Like, we'll see what happens with this. I'm not really too interested in all this shit. This is, I don't know. There's like so many things they got to do for competitive updates. Like, I'm still waiting for them to ban people that are chat banned, right, from being in matchmaking. That's like the number one thing I want to see right now for competitive. Quality of life, all sprays will now be destroyed at the end of the round, or start of round. Yeah, that's pretty good. Some death stuff. 2 changes we made. Death sequence. That is all the stuff that happens once you are killed and before you become a spectator from beyond. We hope these changes improve the experience and game feel by adjusting the minutes of camera movement and general timing of the sequence. We cannot, however, bring you back to life. That's just hilarious. Timing, fade to black time decrease 1.75 seconds after death to 1.5. Time spent on full black screen 0 seconds to 0.25. The total time of the death sequence does not change. Camera movement smooth significantly, especially for those under poor network conditions. Yeah, I guess those are like some good quality of life changes, and then we got some nice quality of life changes in the bugs right here. That I'll leave for a second. But yeah, so this is it, right? This is basically the patch, right? I just really wanted to talk about the weapon updates for the most part. These bug fixes are nice. The competitive, the gun game shit's pretty nice. But again, I don't really care about that too much. There's some other things I wish would get addressed first, right? But like, again, like, some of the things they are fixing here are some of the things I would like, right? The bug fixes, like the owl drone, the Cypher camera, the Seekers on Sky's ulti, right? All things I love to see. But yeah, so this is going to conclude it, guys. I think we're going to see a pretty decent shift in the meta. If what they did, right, changes the game that's supposed to be, which I imagine it would, then I think we're going to see a shift in the meta where people aren't going to force up second round anymore. People should be winning those second rounds after they win pistol, and we'll probably see an increased amount of the Marshal. But because we see increased amount of the Marshal, we might be seeing people forced up to just get close range. We'll see what happens, right? We don't know what's going to happen. We'll see how people play with it, but I think that's what's going to happen. So yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Be sure to join my Discord and follow my Twitch, because I do monthly giveaways, right? First place gets a $15 Skimp gift card. It's loyalty points. You just got to watch the stream. If you sub, you get more points. It's very cool, I know. Join the Discord to get all my cool updates, to know when I go live, as well as see some of the projects I'm currently working on, right? For YouTube video content, blah, 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 everything else. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys join all my shit, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Pokemon, Mega Evolution, Science, Cockfighting.